So the release of a couple of tranches, or whatever I guess we'll call them, of documents from the Epstein files, it demonstrates once again why it is important that when you have agencies or departments like the FBI and the Department of Justice, that you hire people who are first and foremost competent, and especially for the DOJ and the FBI, nonpartisan, meaning they are not loyal to a politician and were hired because of their loyalty to a politician, even though they are incompetent. We are seeing, obviously, with these redactions, I've seen one instance of a document that was released either Friday or yesterday, Saturday, that several names were heavily redacted from the document, but the incompetent people at the DOJ and the FBI didn't realize that that document had already been publicly available. And when the redacted version was compared to the previously unredacted version, it demonstrated that almost every single name that the DOJ redacted was Donald Trump, which is improper. Under the law, that is the Epstein Transparency Act, that is improper. Second of all, just in overall terms, it's like, did Pam Bondi and Todd Blanch and the senior people at the FBI, it's like, I'm fascinated by their thought process over the last couple of weeks. They're guiding these redactions. They're having staff make these redactions, knowing that they're going to release these documents, knowing that everybody is going to go over them with a fine-tooth comb. But Todd Blanch and Pam Bondi, it appears that they really believed that people would just be fine with the redactions that they did, and that releasing the documents with these levels of redactions would just shut everybody up. Be like, oh, I guess there's nothing there. But then at the same time, they've already taken down like 15 or 20 documents that they initially released that people downloaded, but then Pam Bondi and Todd Blanch deleted those after everybody had already downloaded them. One of which is a photograph of Donald Trump in a drawer at Jeffrey Epstein's house or something with 4 or 5 young women. And Todd Blanch went on one of the news shows this morning and said, well, we later determined that it was an error on our part because we don't know who those young women are. We don't want them to be identified. So instead of redacting their faces, they just deleted the entire document from the website where you can see these documents. He said it had nothing to do with the fact that Donald Trump appeared in that photograph twice. That was purely coincidental. And because here's the thing. It's like, I think Donald Trump and people in his administration are so used to dealing with an audience of people who are unimaginably stupid and gullible and easily manipulated. I'm speaking of Trump supporters, that they've been so lulled into dealing with that kind of an audience that they think everybody else in the United States is just as dumb and gullible and easily manipulated as the average Trump supporter is. And they're half right. They're half right, because look at the reaction of MAGA to these documents that were released. Every single one of their reactions contains 2 things. See, I told you Donald Trump's not in the files. It never dawns on them that the redactions that were made were redacting Donald Trump's name. That thought never even occurs to them because they have absolutely no critical thinking skills. The second thought every single one of them has expressed that I've seen online is, oh, wow, look, Bill Clinton is all over the Epstein files. We told you guys, Bill Clinton is guilty. As though that somehow offsets Donald Trump's alleged guilt. Which, again, it's like the reactions prove the first point, that these people are so unimaginably dumb and gullible and easily manipulated. And that's the audience that people like Pam Bondi and Todd Blanch and Donald Trump are used to dealing with. So they just assume all of us are like that. I mean, going about these two document dumps, one on Friday and one yesterday on Saturday, the way Todd Blanch and Pam Bondi did it is going to make the situation 1,000 times worse for Donald Trump. It's going to make it 1,000 times worse for him. Because now we know that they are redacting Trump's name. We can prove that. Now we know that they are releasing documents that contain photos of Donald Trump, and then they're deleting those photos of Donald Trump from the official DOJ website. We can prove that. And when they did like the large scale redactions, 100, 150 page document, when literally every single page is just a black rectangle, it's redacted from start to finish. At a minimum, Democrats in Congress are going to sue. They're going to get a judge to get the original unredacted document, compare it to the redacted version of the document to determine whether or not those redactions were proper in accordance with the Epstein Transparency Act. And I guarantee you the vast majority of those redactions are going to be improper, and they're going to have to go back and do it again and re-release those documents. And so it's like anybody with an IQ over 60, it is blatantly obvious that this entire operation by Todd Blanch and Pam Bondi and people at the DOJ and the FBI is nothing more than an exercise to cover up for Donald Trump and to implicate Bill Clinton. I may be incorrect, but I believe that I am right when I say that there hasn't been a single Epstein victim or survivor who has ever accused Bill Clinton of anything improper or illegal. He's just a creepy old man. Which, you know, and I don't know exactly when Bill Clinton ended his friendship or whatever with Jeffrey Epstein. But during the 8 years that Bill Clinton was president, Jeffrey Epstein was at the White House 17 times. He was invited to the White House 17 times. And Bill and Hillary Clinton, when they launched the Clinton Foundation, the very first donation that they got that got that organization up and running and off the ground was a $500,000 donation from Jeffrey Epstein. But it was sometime late 90s, maybe. Bill had some other things going on in his life during the last couple of years of his presidency that he cut off his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. No one has ever accused him of doing anything improper other than just being in very close proximity to one of the most notorious pedophiles this world has ever seen, which, is exactly what Donald Trump did. But Donald Trump has been accused. Donald Trump has been accused of raping minors by Katie Johnson and others. And so this entire exercise by Todd Blanch and Pam Bondi is going to make things a million times worse because they're just covering for Trump and trying to shift the blame and attention onto Bill Clinton, which they think is going to like do something, and it does nothing. Put every single one of them in prison if they